we'll just do well to remind everyone once they join that the call is being recorded as well, just in case they yeah. So I would since you're sharing your screen, I would open my call by the side so that if we have any questions, I could basically just attend to them in a jiffy. So do you know what will happen? We should just wait a little bit for at least one person to join.
You can see it now, right?
Yeah, I can see it's back on now.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Fine.
All
It's showing
right.
now, right?
Yeah, it is fantastic.
All
And
right.
I've also let the people in. Hi, Polak how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in today.
Hi, George. Thank you for having me.
Hi, yeah, how are you?
Well, thank you.
Okay, nice. Hi, Emmanuel Ihagwar, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Cheers. Thank you. Malcolm, I think we should just start. Then, when people join, we could, you know, take questions and all. So at the end of the day, we'll still have to drop a link to the presentation and a Google form as well, just to feedback system and stuff like that.
Okay, that's fine. Pretty much okay with that. Welcome everyone. So today, like we have rightly said, we're gonna do a more like a frank conversation of demystifying product design and engineering. So some of you might have experience, some of you might just be, new beginners who are just about to decide a career talk. So don't get too it's not for least, professionals, so it's for everyone in terms of the conversation wise. So we'll be talking from our own personal experience and what we've been through, both from the design and engineering side. So if you have questions or you have something that you want us to, dive deep, you could just jot them down, and in between the session, we might give room for some questions and then continue again, and then give room for the final round of questions where we get to, you know, really, give you some kind of specific answers as relates to our experience and what we've been through. So just a little bit of disclaimer. We are not here to tell you the do's or the don'ts. We're simply here just to share our experience and most of the things we have, encountered in our little journey in the design industry. So we just get right into it because we're trying to, save time. So George, I'm sure you've heard this question many times, who you are and all that. So this is more like, throwing it again at your face and say, okay, can you just tell us, who you are and what do you build each day today as an engineering?
All right, thank you so much, Malcolm. My name is George Ikwebu. Educational wise, I have my bachelor's in engineering from computer science back in Nigeria, and I have my master's degree in computer science and AI in York St. John, which is a university in London. I mean, the campus is in London. What I build day to day, I mostly transition from web, Python, data science, machine learning, IoT. Then currently I'm in mobile. And over the years, I've had experience working with industries, companies, fintech softwares, and a whole lot of it, mostly building the mobile application experience. On a day-to-day basis, I mostly make research, try to write some packages as at when I can to as a way to contribute back to the pub of dev rather the open source for Flutter. So yeah, basically just making research. And at the moment, I'm researching towards the health tech, trying to build applications that align with the NHS in the UK here. So that's like summary of who I am and what I build on a day-to-day basis. Oh yeah, I play basketball as well, so that's on the fun side. Oh, Malcolm, how about you? Just tell the guests who you are and what you build on a day-to-day basis. Thank you.
All right. Hello everyone. My name is Malcom Owvighose, and I'm a product designer with about 8 years experience in the design industry. And I know many times it's kind of like wow, that's a lot of years, but yeah, it's how time flies. So my experience span across, designing digital products, talk about, across different sectors as B2B platforms, as prop tech, fintech, and also, government and agri-tech industry. So another part of me outside my design is that alongside my professional work, I'm currently a master's degree in product design from the York St. John University, where I focus my research on virtual reality, building a low-cost VR asset in the educational sector. So basically, what I build day to day is more like building interface that's usually cut across solving real user problems. So yeah, that's pretty much a summary about myself.
Oh, that's really fantastic. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, funny story. We actually attended the same university. Well, he's like my senior
Yeah.
boss. All right. So,
Yeah.
how and why did you get into design? Yeah, how did you transition from your life into designing?
I honestly didn't start out, thinking I'll become a product designer. I mean, no one actually does because, to be honest, the field literally just came up about like, some few years ago.
Mhm.
I've always been curious about technology growing up and how technology could solve real problems. And for me, it was more or less trying to gain a skill that can help me, um, solve real user problems. So for me, I started out with graphics. From graphic, I moved into photography, video editing. That led me into my whole journey of UI design and user experience eventually, which led me into product design. So for me, why when someone asks me what specialties or what areas are you, specialized, I usually say product because from experience, the more I lean, the more I realize design isn't about, colors or buttons, or it's about understanding people and making technology easier to use. So it's all about using that, that skill to actually design a product that solves a problem. So that for me is more like an entrepreneurship kind of drive, which is exciting. And also, I've always loved building things that have social impact, whether I'm from, back from my undergrad to even my postgrad studies. So for me, today design has become, my way of combating creativity, research, technology, and business into my discipline. So yeah, pretty much. So I would assume that for programming engineers quite a bit different. So George, what would you say in terms of why you got into programming?
All right, so I'll just keep it short. Basically, aside the fact that I came from engineering background, my undergrad, um, SAPA, to be honest, it sat me down on a cold afternoon and told me, I will deal with you if you don't learn programming. That's a joke, by the way. So for some people that are not Nigerian, SAPA is like a slang we use to identify not having money. So yeah, so basically having the engineering background, it gave me the ideology that ingenuity. You have to like solve problems in any way you find yourself. And I actually transitioned from, like I said earlier, web, Arduino, IoT, down to software because I'm like, why should I start buying component, transformer, transistor, diodes that gets burnt? There's no debugging when you solder it wrongly. And
Yeah.
instead of using software that basically makes it easy to Control Z to undo or Command Z and stuff like that. So though I started fully for the web in my 300 level when I transitioned fully into web, and it has always been fantastic and wonderful. So yeah, I just love the maths and also the engineering. So it kind of like fueled my passion to continue rolling with it. So yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna keep it short.
That's brilliant. That's definitely
Yeah.
brilliant. Just a quick one. Since you're still talking about keeping it short, what challenges, shapes your growth in terms of your career so far? What challenges do you think helped shape, your growth?
All right, so I'll just say basically bugs, and also having to interact with people, right? Because ideally, I didn't really come from a background where, in the 90s, where they see you with a computer, they technically assume that you're playing video games, you're whiling away your time. It took me a while for my parents, for my dad especially, to know that I'm actually programming instead of playing video games with his laptop, because I started with his anyways. So I had to like hide to do some lessons, program whenever I'm at home. Then if I'm in school, I'd have to use the school desktop and things like that. So I wasn't really free doing it, in as much as I tried to explain what I was doing. But I knew this was something that would really change my life in the future and the lives of any other person I have to meet. So I kept on doing it. I couldn't see the future fully, but I just had the mindset that this would lead to somewhere. So technically, the environment also helped me, because along the line, I also met a couple of people that helped, help me grow in terms of sharing materials, the community, and a whole lot of things. So I'll just say the challenges there was, trying to hide from people to program and buying data all my days. We all know that data in the country back then, it was nothing to write home about. So you don't have internet most times. You have to do a low internet as well, and light. So yeah, it's just the love that I had for the engineering aspect. That was what fueled my growth. Right back at you, Malcolm. What are the things you'd say were challenging during your growth phase?
Okay, thank you very much. So for me personally, I had a lot of challenges. I would say some people had it, more easy than myself, but so it's kind of like the transition from people don't believe that I have a BSc in geology, and they wonder like, how do you make that transition from geology
Oh yeah,
to into the digital space, which is a really just like somebody's reading medicine and then the person coming to read something entirely different
yeah,
than medicine. So it was quite a big challenge for me. One thing about challenges I like is that it spoil you for growth, no matter how difficult it could be. So one of the challenges, most challenges for me would be in terms of, coming into the UK to study for my master's at the same time balancing my career and the same time working. So it was a whole new, ecosystem. You
yeah,
coming into the tech space in the UK is quite different and it's quite, more global. So you're learning in a university that's really great in terms of my lecturer. Kudos to my lecturer, Professor Warren. He's really good in terms of how he really, took us in a journey on how user research is being done in the UK and all that. So, which is quite a different experience for me. So, um, also then you come into a space where you've applied for countless jobs and you get countless amount of rejections
yeah. Tell me
and
about it.
you
Breakfast.
get you just keep refining your portfolio, improve your storytelling, and continue learning. So looking back at all this setback probably taught me resilience more than any course could ever done. Yeah, so pretty much.
Oh, that's it.
Okay, so
Mhm.
just on a more of like most people now are literally at this verge right now where they're asking themselves, do they do self-taught or do they apply for a program, or how do you think you could probably give them your personal experience that can make them really make a decision or help them or maybe give them some kind of form of clarity in terms of how you as a programmer you did kind of like learn your programming skills. So what would you say in that regards?
All right. So first of all, I think it's all personalized. Let me start with a
Yeah.
joke. I'm the kind of person back in the university. I have to rewrite the handout, the PDF printed into my notebook. So that was
Yeah.
how geeky I was back then. So I had this determination that anything I want, provided it's legal, I must get it. So I could learn with PDF, I could learn with videos. I had to combine the two of them, which I'll talk about a bit later. So like I said, it's all personalized. Ask yourself, what medium do you understand most through? Some people love to read, some people love to see movies. So you could also transfer the passion for seeing movies into watching tutorial videos, right? Then again, you could
Right.
ask yourself, some people understand better when someone explains things to them. So if you're that kind of person, then you have to look for a mentor, or you have to look for a tech school that puts you through the actual curriculum on how to learn, because that's the best part of being in a tech school, because they have like a curriculum. You need to learn this before you
Yeah.
learn that. That way,
Yeah.
everything is structured. But I, for what, I was actually self-taught, and luckily for me, I had like my cousin back when I was doing IoT. Obina, he was a guru in hardware, so I learned through him. Then when I switched to the software, I also had a couple of people around me guiding me. So they taught me, they gave me materials, some HTML basics, CSS basics, JavaScript, and all those things. So they were all, partitioned in a way, you have to learn this to learn that. So that way I kind of like received feedback from them whenever I build things. But if you are here and you're trying to start up either being a self-taught or tech school, first of all, if you have the money to apply for those ones, it's very, very wonderful. If you do not, trust me, you have a whole lot of videos that could walk you through anything you want to learn. Just remember to filter the dates of the videos when they were released, because these softwares of the recent, most of them have AIs. So some of the videos you might be watching might be an outdated software that they used to teach in that video. So try to filter by the date. You can also use Udemy to learn, or any other learning platform. I'm not trying to advertise; they didn't pay for this. But then again, one thing with tech
Yeah.
schools is that you might be a shy person to ask questions, so you're not getting the value for your money, because they have like 1001 persons they are teaching. I wouldn't mention some, right? So yeah, to avoid problems. So you don't get that personalized feedback from your teacher, which could create the vacuum for you, and you might start hating the learner. I was actually in one back in school, but the speed at which they were delivering tasks, it was mental. I had to leave it, and I'm okay with being self-taught. So what about you, Malcolm? Were you self-taught, or did you attend to a school? And what advice would you tell anyone this day that is trying to get into product designing?
Yeah, thank you. So it's pretty much like you said, personalized. I would probably call it that way because I actually tried both, and I realized that I excel more with one than the other. So, well, what I would advise, or what I would give in terms of my 2 cents, is that I do best when I have a one-to-one teaching, in terms of like, when someone tutor me one-to-one, I learn best that way. But I also realized that you need to still complement it with maybe online courses, joining tech school, because once you have that foundation, it's easy to build on top. But most people are, might be vice versa. They learn, online course, YouTube, like most of the places you mentioned, because now the internet, it's the amount of information you could get in the internet at your access now is literally crazy. You could literally learn anything in the internet. Just, go into YouTube or go into most of those video sharing platforms, and you can learn anything. But the thing there is just to understand how best you would learn and then stick to it. And most of the time, a lot of people, I see them get dragged into following a certain pattern of learning, boot camp, and all those things. But as much as those things are good, you need to understand, would that be the best platform for you to get 100% of what you're looking for? Because sometimes you need to have a one-on-one first, or other times you just need to just be in a community. So you just need to understand what really works for you. So, and when you find that what works for you, it's easy for you to just stick to it, and then keep building on it, and keep adding and all that. So pretty much for me, mine was more or less a combination of self-taught and I'm learning through personal one-on-one with people. So yeah, I'll probably say that was my kind of like learning. I still do it till now. So to be honest, I still do it now, especially this whole new AI wave and all that. So yeah. Um, yes. So, George, communities. I've heard so
What were they?
many things
Sorry.
about it. I've heard
Yeah.
so many things about it, and so many people have opinions and reservations about it. What would you say yours is? Did you join any?
Uh, so yes, I did. I did. So when I was doing Python, I had to join the DSA, but the branch in my school, in my university as at then, but it wasn't really giving me the vibe I wanted. So I went back to web, and I that was when I encountered GDG, Google Developers Group, which is like a group they create in campuses and cities. We've got one in Kigali, we've got two in Abia, one in Umuahia, one in Aba. We've got multiple in Lagos, in Port Harcourt. These are the ones I know. There are many anyways. There's an Ado Ekiti as well. So they're like people that just know they give back to the community basically. Yeah. So they'll kind of like get any new infrastructure or new technology that Google has, then demystify amongst other people, kind of like getting the technology down to everyone. I started off as a floor member, and due to my, my braggadociousness, I actually became a co-lead, and I helped
Yeah,
build the community in Michael Okpara University of Agriculture.
yeah.
Basically getting venues down to getting the student buses to take them, obviously with approval, to take them to those events. We had one Google I/O on I think 2018. I
Yeah.
was one of the people that organized it, and I did a little bit of an MC as well. And when Firebase came out, I also had like an online session teaching people how to integrate Firebase, Fire Storage, Firestore, and all those things into your web application. And yeah, aside that, in the UK or in Lagos, basically, I belong to the Flutter Lagos, which they hosted Flutter Bytes like multiple times. And trust me, there are teams of amazing Flutter engineers in Lagos. They're crazy.
But
So yeah, moving down to London. I'm part of the Flutter London meetup, and I literally went for the event yesterday, anyways. So it was really awesome. I'm also part of the Southwest Indie App Developers. These are like indie app developers. They're not like working for people. They are building and maintaining their own application and selling it through subscriptions. So I'm part of that as well in Bristol, and I just
awesome.
love joining the community. Yeah, because it helps you grow. You meet people like with 2 decades of knowledge. You can learn from them. Like literally watching their code base can teach you various ways of solving a particular problem, and it kind of like skyrockets your knowledge. So communities are good. Don't be shy. Anywhere you are, you could literally go on meetup.com, search for your stack, JavaScript, main stack, PHP, Laravel, Vue, React, all those things, and you could obviously see the groups around you. Then try and join, try and meet up with them. You learn a lot. What about you? How does the community in product designing look like, both from Nigeria and also in the UK here?
Yeah, absolutely. Communities, accelerated my growth.
Mhm.
I've been fortunate to collaborate with design communities, both in Nigeria and the UK in terms of university initiatives and also people across different disciplines. At first, it wasn't so, let's be frank, in terms of what you're not trying to be so robotic in our answers or AI generated. But yeah, many people struggle with it at first because there's a lot of things going on, but it's finding the right communities. And most times, what I would advise in terms of what helped me that I will probably give in terms of my 2 cent advice is finding a mentor, because most people who have been there before would tell you, point you in the right direction to
Mhm,
join.
mhm.
Oh, these are the community that would really help you. And for me, I've had, a couple of, joining communities in terms of, we have, the people that learn design with me the same year, we have a WhatsApp group called Gods of Product Design, where we share, opportunities and, new areas of waves of designs that comes in, and then we also share criticism in our design, a very constructive one for most of you who are designers here. Yeah, so that's pretty much has been the oldest community group I've been on, because it's
Mhm.
almost about 7 years plus. The group is still standing, and most of us in that group are pretty much doing well. Then also, I have my own communities also in terms of the students that I have trained over the past 3 years. I think I create a WhatsApp group where I share opportunities and network in terms of help them to, really build a solid foundation in terms of solidifying their design career and actually helping them to, grow in the career. So, um, it's been an interesting journey, even here in the UK, joining communities in the UK in terms of founders, designers. It's a recent community that I just joined, and it's quite interesting because we are all designers building our own very startup. So, and it's quite an interesting journey because now you're in a space of designers and then you're having designers conversations and
Yeah,
then also founders conversations at the same time. So it's pretty exciting journey to see what that community is going to offer me
it feels like
going forward. Yeah.
yeah, it's like home. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
so pretty much just on sidetrack, how would you just still sticking to this community because I know some people now might will want to make a decision in terms of what would you say in terms of scale 1 to 10, how community has really helped you? Would you say on a 5 or 10, or in terms of 10 being really good and then number 1 being poor? So what would you rate? Just give a kind of like a quick rating.
I don't want to be weird. I would say 100, but let's just stick with the range. I would say a 10. Yeah, it's 10x my journey and stuff. Yeah. The first
Okay.
review I got from one of the applications I built back then, the login form was like knee high. It was lengthy, loads of information. So she looked at it and was like, I'm not sure I would have the strength to fill all these things out. Reduce it or you paginate it. I'm like, wait a minute. So that gave me the idea that people spend a little bit of time in your product. So if your sign up form is this big, it's going to overwhelm them. But if you
Yeah.
paginate it and animate it, maybe the first
Yeah.
screen you request for your email, depending on the data flow, you verify the email with the next screen being the OTP, the next screen you provide the first and the last name, and you only keep to the information you need at that moment. The rest could be completed once they are signed in, right? So, that idea shaped the way I build things, and that really helped me. Oh, before we continue, let me just throw a question to our audience. If you have any question whatsoever, just indicate by raising up your hand, and we'll reel you in and just take 2 persons now. Then we'll continue our talk. So if you just have any question whatsoever, just indicate by raising your hand. I would open the floor to you. All right. So we can actually continue, Malcolm. So just indicate your hand and would pull you up. So what would you do if you were to start all over again, Malcolm?
Um, what will I do in 5 years? Going back in time 5 years. That's very much what the question is. Like, actually, what will you do differently? Going back 5 years in time, knowing all this information,
Yeah.
I think for me, I would think two things. Number one is join the community as early as possible. I think that for me, I struggle with it a lot because I am a loner. And I got to find out that in the design industry, communities is what helps you, really anchor yourself in the design, industry because it's not an isolated space.
Yeah,
You
true.
need feedback. You need to communicate. You need to find a way to tell your story. It's just like the art. No one paints and then keeps it inside his wardrobe. Everybody paints and then wants to display it for everyone to see and say, "Oh, this is what it is." But yeah, I was definitely work on that in terms of joining a community, starting a community, things like that, and then really invest more into it because currently is what I'm doing at the moment, but
Mhm.
imagine if I started it, like 4 years ago, 3 years
Yeah.
ago, or as early as the second year. So for those of you who are just starting out, you might be a prospective designer. Start a small community for prospective designers only, or for community for new designers only. So you guys can help yourself, because to be honest, the the space is really overwhelming right now. Everyone is moving at a rate so fast that upcoming designers, I'm like, do you really have that space to be take your time to really delve into it? Because for people like us and George, we really had a very long career journey. So now with the rise of AI, everybody seems to be an expert in something, without actually
Yeah.
going through the foundation, without
Yeah, true.
actually, because the pressure, it's just more and more. Everybody wants a designer who can code, can do React Native, can do VS Code, can do anti-gravity. So there's so much pressure for a newbie. So you really need to now say, okay, let's create our own small community where we can just, still do the basics of design. Because trust me, design still has basics.
Mhm.
It does still has basics. So I think that for me, and also, I'll spend less time trying to impress designers and more time understanding, the actual process of designing, because most times we get carried away of trying to design very fine and beautiful screen just because we want to put it out there for everybody to say, oh, this is nice, but what's the actual thought behind those screen? What are we usually call it the UX, for those of you who are designers, those of you who are not actually conversant with that, what's the UX behind those screens that you have designed? Are they really doing something, and or are they something that you just want to just for the aim of proving a point that you can design? So right. So yeah, that's pretty much, I think if I focus on those two, I think my trajectory would be in a little bit slightly different pathway, moving really, really fast. So I would think so. Yeah. Yeah, for George, I'll probably say maybe you might want to learn JavaScript less, or maybe you might want to learn PHP. But I would think it would have a somewhat different experience for you if you want to start over again.
Well, to play about a little bit, I would, if I'm to start over again, I'll first of all go and buy Bitcoin. Messed up. I messed up. Yeah, I really did. I really did. So,
That's
the thing there is, if I'm to start over again, to be honest, I actually loved my process. Like it was very crazy, and I love that I was able to join the community as early on. And there were part of the things that I would say were mistakes, but looking back right now, I wouldn't say they were mistakes. I had a gig that I did for someone, and they were like, George, you're really good. Why are you still going to school? Why don't you just drop out and make the money? Most of my guys that started off back then, most of them that dropped out, they're all good. I mean, they're earning like six figures. This is in hard currency, not in naira. So, but the advice I would give to the early, not really early, but I don't know the levels of the people that are here, is that school is not a scam. Don't think that you school is stopping you from personally improving. So if you're thinking of dropping out of school, please do not do that. Except the circumstances a bit different on your own end, because I'm here because of the education, and just like Malcolm said, his lecturers has actually improved his thinking, his product design thinking as well. Same with me. I wouldn't have been able to do my master's if I had dropped out of school. Well, except I do some other things. So, but yeah, so the master's, that is education, gave me the theoretical knowledge. Though we had some practical sessions, thanks to York St. John, we had some practical sessions to put the theoretical things into perspective, right? So, but other than that, the fundamental still remains
yeah,
the
yeah,
key, just like Malcolm is trying to say, right? So don't try to use ChatGPT or AI to skyrocket yourself. I was telling somebody sometime that learning with AI is actually good, but learn the fundamentals first of all. I normally call it uh, colors and shapes with my misses, colors and shapes. We just do colors and shapes. So learn the fundamentals, learn the theory behind colors, learn the theory behind fonts, learn the theory. This is I'm talking about also translate to mobile app or engineering. Learn the theory behind functions, classes, OOP, solid principles, and all those things. Learn the fundamentals before trying to paint on your widget tree and all those things. So if you are starting or you are currently at that point, don't try to run integrating Gemini into your Flutter application. First of all, understand how that works. If you're doing Flutter, understand how that works, understand how JavaScript works before you start running to React.js, Vue.js, and all those things. So, like I said, I actually loved my journey so far, and I wouldn't want to change, a certain thing here and there, but I think they were good. Yeah.
That's very interesting to see that. Yeah, the journey has been an awesome one. I think you literally said a bit about this part, but let's just
Yeah.
say, okay, if you just want to give a 1 minute advice,
All right.
what would you just give in terms of someone now who is like,
All right. I don't know where you're joining. Could be because Nigeria or the UK. Designing engineering is not a get money quick scheme. It's not a get money quick scheme. You have to put in the time and the energy. Luckily for me, I started off when I was still in uni, so I didn't really have the much pressure to drive the latest cars or something like that. So back then it was for fun. I wasn't doing it for money. It was until I got my first pay, and I'm like, what? This is real. Get so some
yeah,
people dropped out because they were expecting to start getting the money, but they couldn't. They were like, do you know what, I'll just go and do forex, I'll do something else. And they're really good at forex anyways, but it's not a get money fast scheme. So take your time and know that you are being paid by your experience. Hence, when you're trying to apply for your job, you see 2-3 years experience, so that translates to your experience level, because there are some bugs that if you encounter, if you haven't had the experience before, you won't be able to solve it. So that's why they're paying you that amount of money, so that you should be able to solve those bugs. So the advice I would give is take it slow and steady, and try and learn the fundamentals. That's just basically it. So what about you? What advice would you give? I think you also mentioned a little bit of them. Yeah, but just one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just a bit of digressing to say, oh, I just heard you mention that when they pay the money for the bug that you're looking for. And I was like, oh my God, if you know how much they pay developers, you'll be like,
Uh,
God,
I
I've
did
been
loads
there
of
most
freelance
times.
jobs without pay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's quite interesting to
Mhm.
see how that particular thing works when you start eating the fruit of your labor. It's always very fascinating to see how when you get to that point. So most times people just see it from that point and then they forget that there's a journey.
Yeah,
It's a
true.
journey that takes you there. It's not going to be an overnight something. So for in the design space, it's pretty much going to be a little bit different in terms of advice I'll probably give in terms of number one, build projects, not just certificates. It's quite easy for employers or people who are looking for your skill to remember what you've solved far more than what you've learned or what you've studied. Because as we advance into the more 22nd century, everyone is trying to look for someone who can solve their problems rather than how many degrees you have attached to your title and all that. So secondly, learn how product actually makes money, because one thing in my little years of experience is when you are being interviewed, they're not looking to see if you can design a screen. They're trying to see how would your screen make achieve the business goal, business objective, and how that particular skill that you're bringing can help them solve their users or customers' problems, which in turn leads to higher revenue, right? So, third would be it's a very but it's actually very serious. I was in an interview for about 20 minutes where they kept asking me this question. And I was like, there must be something going on in this industry for them to be emphasizing on this question. So the third thing I probably would say is learn how to work with engineers. and and to be honest, I go where they why they were emphasizing on it. They were like, how do you deal with this, disagreement with engineers? And I was like, I'll give them my own approach. I'll be like, okay, what if the disagreement is, I'm like, okay, what's going on? But yeah, it's actually a valid point in terms of um learning how to work with the engineer, because in terms of handoff, documentation, using tools to hand off your design properly to designers so that they can be a very smooth transition. I know Figma has helped in terms of introducing dev mode, and there's Zeppelin, there are other tools you guys can use. But if you do not know how to do that, it will be a really friction. There will be a lot of friction between your design. That's why you see some kind of trend that goes on in design when you say what a designer design and what a developer do. It's you get seeing those kind of thing. But yeah, um so for me, some of the biggest breakthroughs I've had come from conversations with developers. So more or less, they have ideas too. Don't think that it's you as a designer. It's just for you to design and then give it to them. Buzz bows, that kind of thing. So always have conversations with them, because great products, aren't created by designers, or they're built together. We come together as a team, every stakeholder, designers, engineer, product manager, even QA, and every stakeholders in the development cycle come together to build a great product. So never forget that as a designer, you are the only one, in charge of building or designing it by yourself, especially with the wave of AI coming in. So yeah, that would probably lead us to our AI kind of conversation. So George, over to you in terms of AI as a developer. Has the world changing in your own aspect?
Mhm. All right, so sorry, before I get into that, I kind of like skip something in the advice section. So this is also for the product designers and engineers. Do not be stuck in the tutorial hellhole. So watching tutorials over and over again. Try out and practice, build according to what Malcolm said. Then again, the saying of designers designed to kill developers. It has been an ongoing war. So yeah, the pros and cons of AI. I would first of all start at my level. The pros of AI. I know how to write this particular object or get a class or get a method, but by the time I finish creating the files and the screens, it might take me roughly 1 hour, 2 hours. But with the anti-gravity of AI, you are able to give a proper prompt and it creates all those things. So basically how I operate is to task the AI to understand my utility classes, my reusable components, and my approach, my SDLC, the software development lifecycle. I normally use LVVM depending on what I'm working on. So it goes through my architecture and learns how I write my code. So that way, if I want to implement something, I just give it a prompt and it helps me to implement it. So these are the pros. I'm using AI as a tool, not necessarily that I don't know what I'm doing. So it makes my work faster and I get to deliver faster as well. The cons, even at my stage, is mistakenly, which we call vibe coding, mistakenly not ignoring your environment keys or environment files. Your important keys are not supposed to be pushed out to your Git repository, right? So it's part of the cons. And sometimes there are some sensitive information you're not supposed to be putting in. Your Google keys, your GCP, your Google Cloud platform keys, you shouldn't be putting it inside of your the AIs when they're trying to assess it. I think sometimes it warns you if the AI is not integrated into your IDE, it warns you. And for beginners, and just try as much as possible to learn the fundamentals without the need of AI. From auto completions to AI suggesting things for you, you might think, oh, you're flying, you are the trending person, until you turn off AI and you see that you don't even understand the basis of what you're doing. So AI is good when you want to make research. You can also use it to break down a tough concept, like the solid principles, separation of concerns, and all those things. If you want to break it down, data structure and algorithm, AI can help you to break it down to how you would understand it. But try as much as possible to also understand the fundamentals. So when you're using the AI, you are using it as a tool, not as your teacher or something. So yeah. So what about you? How would you talk about the pros and cons of AI in the product design world?
Okay, that's fascinating thing for you to heard you said your own. I hope I've actually learned one or two things from what you said just now, because I'm beginning to start my journey into the dev. So I was just jotting down. I was like, you know what, just take this advice too.
Yeah.
So AI is probably the biggest shift in in our industry as designers I've seen in years. So the biggest advantage of or biggest pros of AI is speed. And why I would say speed is because today I can research faster, brainstorm ideas, write documentation, prototype concept. I think I was having that a little session with my um startup team where I would just tell them that, oh, I'm generating this and all that. And then the product manager will be like trying to get me to understand what I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm trying to just, get the screens and all the things ready on time.
Yeah.
So those things are not possible because of AI. Because without AI, the process, the design process of sitting down, analyzing documents, doing all those things. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's now draft in minutes. It's now in seconds. I can whip up a screen and then send them to you. But still now, but AI also comes with risks, right? So what kind of risks is that it becomes too easy, you can be so dependent on it, and it doesn't replace critical thinking, empathy, or good judgment. So that's why we're having this conversation currently in the design community in terms of taste. AI, yes, can design screens, but it still lack that human taste. So that's why you are there. So if you do not know, have a solid foundation or something that can make you be have good judgment or that sense of empathy, you probably will not know what is missing. And AI can generate solution, but it can't truly understand people, organization politics, all the emotional sides of user experience. So that's where you come in as a designer to now help the AI to navigate those processes, to collaborate together. So all those conversations you see that, oh, AI is coming to replace some certain careers, I really do not fully support it, because I see AI as a collaborator rather than a
Yeah.
replacement. So the designers who would thrive won't necessarily be the ones who know the most tools, right? They'll be the ones who ask the best questions, combine AI with human insight. So just see it as a way of you are collaborating to create some, experience that can only be created with the help of both the human insight and AI collaborations. Yeah. Mm.
Oh,
So, so yeah, pretty much it's
yeah.
quite an interesting to hear your side of the story in terms of how all of us we are unique in our own different way.
Mhm.
And I'll leave the floor open to anyone who has more or less like a question. I think we just have some like maybe 10 minutes before the
Yeah.
session ends. So if you have something that we have said that maybe you need us to throw more light,
Mhm.
or you just a random question as relates to both design and engineering. Yeah, the floor is pretty
Yeah,
much
I think I see a hand up. So but quick one. I just want to let us know that we actually recording the session and we would love to kind of like post it on LinkedIn. So if you don't want it out there, just let us know and we could, edit and block your name or your avatar or something like that. So I'm just letting you know. We actually said at the beginning of the call, but for some of us that joined in between, yeah, sure. We're just trying to, keep the data GDPR up to date. All right. Yeah, you can go on and collect one and ask your questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, perfectly loud and clear.
All right, thank you. Well, my name is Kolapol. I am a customer and product support specialist. So I have two questions here.
Okay.
I would start with, as someone who is very recently transitioning from customer experience into product, what skills, I would like this, what mindset would you recommend I develop to work more effectively with designers and engineers? And secondly, I would ask, as a product manager, what can I do to become the kind of teammates that designers and engineers genuinely enjoy working with? And in terms of what behavior usually makes collaboration difficult or effective? Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Those are two powerful questions. Malcolm, do you want to take it or should I go first? I mean, I don't mind.
yeah, please you can go ahead.
Okay. First things first, I would like to know, you do have a laptop, correct? Or you have a computer?
Yes, please.
Perfect. I know it's a redundant question, but I just want to get the basics. Remember, fundamental is key. So, if you have a 9 to 5 job at the moment, I'll advise you keep it. So, I don't know how your schedule is because obviously you still need to pay your rent and pay your bills. So, you can make out time and get, I think, if you could get 30 minutes, 1 hour a day to go through the next few things I'm going to talk about, then you can grow. Just first of all, give yourself, discipline yourself, rather, give yourself timeline and say 6 months. And this is where you have to now join a community because right now you're trying to transition. You do not really know what to learn. Is it the colors? Is it the shapes? Is it the theory? Do you need to read up on colors first of all? Which color shows emotions? Which color shows money, which is green? Which color shows things? So you need to read up on all these things. So I don't know where you are at the moment, and I wouldn't want you to disclose that because of security issues, purposes rather. So try and go to meet.com and search for where you are, maybe product designers near me or something like that. You could join. You could also go on LinkedIn, search for people around you and reach out to them. So first of all, go through their profile and see if what they're doing aligns with what you want to do. Then you can reach out to them personally and tell them, oh, my name is Kolakbo and I'm trying out this journey. Can you mentor me? I've had loads of calls like that. One of my good friends, he actually reached out to me via LinkedIn and I've coached him. He's working for one bank like that and he's really good right now. So reach out to them on LinkedIn, and some might not respond because of their schedules. They might be busy. But yeah, the essence of me asking to reach out to them or anybody is so that they will give you a breakdown of things to learn. If not, you might start learning this, learning that, and it messes you up, right? Then the second question, which is I don't say buy a course, but in the history of course purchases, no one has actually finished one. I stand to be corrected. So the second one is working with engineers. I love what Malcolm said because sometimes designers they'll be like, oh, let me just do this script to be doing like this every 3 seconds. And I'm like, bro, come on. Because if I'm building a mobile application, right, I'm considering low-end applications, right? I'm considering
Yeah.
iPhones that do not have enough storage space, that they only rely on their iCloud. I'm considering devices that have multiple apps running at once on their device and they're using 4 gig RAM. So technically, if I'm going to run an animation with Flutter on that device, the operating system would have to terminate the application because it is trying to crash the app. So these are the things you have to consider as a mobile app. So that is why our contribution is also needed during the planning phase of the UI UX. You'd have to tell them, okay, what if we truly want the animation twirling thing? What if we set a timer so it moves like this every 3 seconds, it stops? If not, the system checks which application is running mad, is trying to consume more RAM, right? Because of it, they'll terminate and your app gets to crash. And once it crashes the first time, second time, user experience, they'll be like, nah, I'm not going to use this. They'll leave it. And once they leave it, they either uninstall or they leave your product and you start losing people. So when you're designing, try and reach out to engineers and tell them, are there ways you might want me to do this? For instance, we have 16 pixels from both ends of Android devices or iOS. So to give them enough space. I worked with one designer that he used like 32 pixels in terms of space. So the screen was very small, but because he was designing, it looked good. When I reproduced exactly what I got, which is the dev mode and the Figma, I copied the spaces, the pattern, and showed him. And I'm like, this is what it looks like on the mobile devices, right? So mobile devices are not as large as Samsung's or again, I'm not advertising any phone or other phones. So try and reach out to the engineers and tell them, what do you want me to adjust? Hear from
Hi,
them.
George.
You learn.
Sorry to cut you. Sorry to cut you.
Oh, no,
So
no, that's
sorry
fine.
about
That's
that.
fine.
Transitioning into product management, now project designing.
Okay.
I think
So
you're giving more advice to the product designer.
funnily enough, the advice also goes down to product management because I low-key do product management as well. I was
Okay.
actually going to have a call with someone else because I was telling someone, would you be a good product designer if you do not understand product designing, engineering? Because if you're a product designer, you could say, oh, I want you to integrate WhatsApp with WhatsApp within 3 seconds or really 1 hour. If you're not an engineer, you wouldn't understand that you need to buy the token, the API keys, the hurdles with engineering, the design blocker that Malcom might be having, and other designers as well. So being a product designer, a product manager rather, you should also have a little bit of knowledge in all these things because you are the one that is going to have the whole agile methodology, the stand-ups, the retrospectives, the sync, the meetings, the 15 minutes meetings. So you also need to understand the people you are going to work with. It might be a big work, but try to understand the designers and also the engineers. So you'll be able to assign tasks, using the whole Fibonacci series of selecting the user story point and all those things, right? It gives you that more knowledge and leverage. Then again, be patient, right? Because some things that might seem easier for you to do might be difficult for the designers to integrate and also for the engineers to do. And I might be, hung because of what I'm about to say, but what you read in the books or what you take in your courses being a product manager might not actually transcend down to the reality, right? In a situation where you are handling how do they put it, a multinational team. Say some people are in the US, which they are, how many hours is US from UK? I think 5 hours or so, or India or something like that. So how do you manage that multi-platform as a product designer? Then you know that some of the things you read in the books might not really apply. You have to now use your initiative and go around it. So sorry that I diverted to the designing, but most of the things I said in the design can also be used in the product management as well.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Judge. Um, any more questions from anyone? I think I'll probably just read one from someone who sent me a personal question, and I'll probably just um read it out. I don't know if the person is here, but I told the person to come into the call to ask the question. But the question was more like, do you have a community I can join? I've been building my career so hard on product design. Looking for a job has been crazy, but I'm still learning every day and growing. So it can still be turned to programmers too. So more or less like we talked about the community, and I think we actually touched on that in terms of answering the first question: do I have a community I can join? Yes, there is a community. Like I said, the best way to go about that is to reach out to a senior colleague or a mentor who can point you in the right direction. It saves you a lot of time of joining communities and testing the waters. It just points you to places that you can be able to get what you want and what you need, because you would have a conversation with your mentor or someone who is more advanced in the career industry, and it can be able to know your specific needs and be able to point you in the direction where you can get those particular um, needs being solved. So have been building my career so hard on product design. Looking for a job has been crazy. I think me and Judge had a similar conversation yesterday where we kind of like just did a kind of like a frank conversation, and I mentioned something to him. I said below the table it's a lot, it's crowded.
Yeah.
It's really crowded. Like if I tell you how many people are looking for internship position, it's crazy how the place is so clustered. But the more you rise to the top, the fewer people get, and then the more you get to see diverse opportunities where you can be selected for or be useful for. So but the point is getting to that part. Then most people stop halfway because, like George rightly said, it's not a quick get rich scheme. You have to find a way to do it because you want to do it for more reasons beyond money. I know money is there, money is a quite motivation, but that's particular thing that gets you to, keep doing it and still do it irrespective of either there is job or no job, or anything is coming in or not, but you still can still open your laptop and still design something and still show it. And that's the most beautiful thing about these soft skills, is that you do not need any buying anything to be able to program or design. It's just when you have your laptop, just create a 1 hour, probably a day, and then just do work, and then that's it. So it's not like other skill that you have to go to the market and get one tools, or photography. You have to buy the camera, buy lens that will not involve you
Okay.
having financial costs. So it's just when you have your laptop, you just code, you just design, and then you put it out there. Just keep doing it 1 hour every day, and then pretty much you'll get there. So just use that and add to my advice that when I gave earlier in terms of building project, not just building things to put there and design. Somebody somewhere will see your design
True.
and reach out to you and say, "Oh, I love what you did. I think you can do this project for me." Trust me, that many projects I've gotten into is based on people see my work or I've been referred. So that's pretty much the advice I can give. It's crazy. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but once you're just starting out, you have to be consistent. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. Be consistent, and then you just have to keep showing up and then showing your work. So pretty much that would be um my 2 cents of advice for this question. But I don't know how the job industry is for programmers, but I think you can throw one or two lights in terms of those programmers who are kind of like,
Mhm.
in the bottom chain looking for programming internship.
All right. So the essence of the community is not just the learning curve. Um, Depending on how vibrant the community is, I would use Flutter Lagos, where most of the people there are working for. I'm trying not to mention some company's name, but that's fine. They're working for like top companies that use Flutter as well. So if you're part of the community, you could reach out to any of them. Oh, hi, my name is George, and I'm actually in between jobs at the moment. I've actually been recommended for Flutter roles from my friend. You don't even need to go through the hassle of submitting CVs and everything. Some ATS system, application tracking system will go through it. So they would introduce you. Obviously, you go through the actual company policy, which is the interview, but at least you've gotten your leg in the room for the interview, right? So, like I said, the community help cannot be overemphasized. So try as much as possible to get into a community. I think on LinkedIn, there's a way you can hashtag a particular community, and people in that community get to see your post. Another thing is to try as much as possible to write. I have my mate where he got a job from LinkedIn because of an article he wrote. I also have that experience. Paystack, we know Paystack. Sorry, I'm calling this. So I wrote an article on Paystack on how to integrate it with Flutter because we're having a little bit of an issue based on the package we use then. Someone called me through LinkedIn and was like, "Hi, my name is Blup. I came across your article on Flutter. My team has been having issue trying to integrate Paystack. Could you please help us?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I was very proud of myself. Trust me. So I was able to walk them through how I navigated the issues. And yeah, they got everything they needed. And imagining a situation where I was looking for a job, I could be like, do you have any opening in your team or stuff? So, it could work out that way. But yeah, you might have this imposter syndrome. Trust me, it happens to me as well. So try as much as possible to get out there. No one can advertise you more than you, right? Start by talking to people, and before you know it, you're good. And you just need one yes. Trust me, you need one yes to get your morale pumped. When I was in NYC, I got my first job during NYC, and that was it. That was it. Like, if I'm going into interviews, I have the morale. I mean, the big company I just worked for. So, do not give up. You just need one yes to get your morale back up. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right. If there's any other question, let's see if we can take one more because we are sorry out of time because
Yeah.
um any question as regards to you can type it if you're not really comfortable speaking up, you can type it and
Yeah.
yeah while that's probably going on, I think we can just give our closing remarks. I'll probably start first in terms of thank you for joining in, and I really hope this session has been enlightening for you as much as it has been for us. And I'll probably say this as more like a general advice in terms of the technology or the industry. There was a particular person I follow every day who always write another way to become world class designer. I never really understood the ideology behind that post. I saw it for a long time. And until a particular incident happened when I came into the UK, and then I realized that, oh, you have to find a way to see into the future and to always speak in terms of call yourself what you want to see in terms of your skill set and where you want to be as a designer, as a developer. Even if you're not seeing it now, always have a mood board or a wall of fame where you see the things that needs to motivate you every morning when you wake up, what you need to keep doing is because trust me, as much as George has painted a very he saw his first alert and it was crazy. But the truth is that there's a lot of, obstacles more than success. And don't be too deceived by what you see on social media, where everybody's just posting their success story about their design or programming journey. But the truth is that you have a lot of rejection mails. You have a lot of you know failures in this your process. But it's more or less like when you go back to that motivation that motivates you every day while you do what you need to do, it reinforces that need for you to keep doing it. Because I've seen many of my colleagues who started out with me who have dropped out because of they couldn't get what they wanted or what they were looking for. But they're still doing pretty well. But I'm saying that if probably they have stick to the design, maybe life would have turned out differently. Who knows? But yeah, for some of you, the journey is very steep. But just have a motivation. Even if you're not seeing that you're going to be a world-class designer or programmer now, just keep telling yourself that when you wake up in the morning, every time you open your screen, just keep telling yourself that that's why you're doing this, because you have a place you need to be in 5 years time or 4 years time. Trust me, before you see it, you will not even realize you're already there. That's even the most funny part. You're just like, oh, I'm here already. So that's pretty much my advice for you. So George, you could just give yours and we'll call this session closed.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining. To be honest, this was just meant to be me and Malcolm ranting. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's really be honest. Malcolm is my boss. Funnily enough, before I came to the UK, I had to message him when I saw his post at TikTok, and I'm like, bro, hi, is York said Jordan. I was like, my guy, don't worry, turn up. So he has been my boss since. Yeah, it's been fun. So please do not give up. Like he said, like I said, it's not a get rich money scheme, right? So, but trust me, it is going to pay. And do not be scared that AI is everywhere, because I mean it's scary. Trust me. But what I normally tell myself is there are businesses out there that still needs you, right? And they cannot afford the OGs that are out there. I'm not an OG yet. So just tell yourself that, and keep pushing, keep motivating yourself. And you just need one yes, like I said. For Kalako, your product management, just keep learning, keep advancing yourself, keep taking those courses, those certified courses, and also post on LinkedIn. And I don't know why some people don't really like using it, but try and post. You can come up with a scenario, and this is how you're going to approach it using so techniques, using Jira, using Confluence, using Notion, Slack. These are like real life things that I use on a daily basis to manage my team. So try and come up with those things. If we are following on LinkedIn, if I see your post, I always retweet. I normally retweet Malcolm, so Malcolm retweets mine. So it can come across my followers, and they'll be like, oh, do you know what I'm actually looking for? A product manager. Let's just check you out. And that's it. I've actually got one of the jobs I got was via X, formerly known Twitter. I posted something on Twitter, and the 2IC of the company literally told the product manager to reach out to me, and it was crazy. So when it's difficult to scream, somebody will definitely hear you. So all right,
Yeah.
thank you again. So just for for a recap, the video is going to be posted on LinkedIn, so it's going to be like a recap of what we talked about. If you do not want your avatar, your name, because your names are showing, if you don't want it to be out there, please and please again let us know. We are under the law to make sure we protect everyone's data, and we actually said at the beginning of the video to have a consent. So if you do not want your names to be out there, let us know and we'll blow it out. And we will also paste a form, a Google feedback form. Some of that you don't want to talk. I understand, bro to bro. So you could always give your feedback in that form. It will really help us, because we might be doing this often with a lot of other people as well. So yeah, just let us know. And thank you once again for joining. You made our day. Cheers, guys.
All right. Thank you all. Bye.